right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming to hear about the HP Workforce Experience Platform. I can't see most of you because of these lights, but do appreciate you guys showing up. My name is Mark Kelly. I am the software sales specialist for HP, covering Canada. I'm based in Vancouver, British Columbia. I've been with HP for 4 years, and am really pleased to be here in Montreal. So exciting conversation today. I've got a bunch of stats that we're going to go through before I actually get to what I find is the most exciting part. We're actually talk about our workforce experience platform. I'm sure that everybody knows that the work landscape has shifted. We've got some people that are working from home. We've got organizations that are asking people to come back, 2, 3, 4 times a day. And there's increased security threats. AI has, really entered the workforce now. And today, the workforce, we need good technology, and we need, trusted partners that can cut through the complexity and empower teams to work smarter, not necessarily harder. Because of this, productivity is what we want from everybody. We want to make sure that everybody is working efficiently and effectively. And but it's under attack from digital friction. The fact that we're all working from different places. I mentioned I live in Vancouver. Yesterday I was working from the hotel. I need to make sure that everything works the same for me, regardless of where I am connecting from. This is what we refer to as digital friction. Maybe it's I can't connect to the internet or something else is happening. So according to people like Gartner, 72% of knowledge workers don't have a healthy work relationship. The remote hybrid work, as new employees are being brought on, that's a key for people to accept a job, is the ability to from work wherever they can. So with this, having people working in different locations, you need to make sure that digital experience is at the highest level for employees. So making sure you have the tools to ensure that they do get the best digital experience is a must. With this hybrid model, there's also, some statistics that come from people like Deloitte. People have issues, maybe they can't connect to a printer or they can't connect to an external monitor. Half those people, they don't even bother calling a support ticket. They don't want to wait in line, for online help. They don't want to wait for somebody to answer the phone. So they just deal with it. They try to figure it out themselves. And then there's another statistic out there that, Forrester came out with that 34% of people that have already submitted a help desk ticket, they don't get their issue resolved. It's just something that continues on and on. And with this, having just devices, it doesn't solve the problem, right? We need to, again, make sure that we can figure out ahead of time, how do we improve the employee experience for users, right? Sorry, I'm... Yeah, what I'm saying sounds pretty obvious, right? We should be able to give a good experience. But there's a vast, complex environments that we're all dealing with, right? You don't have centralized platforms to proactively manage your devices. You've got multiple tool sets. IT costs, they're always increasing and definitely increasing to try to make sure that your employees are happy. It's also fragmented. We don't have the tools that are speaking together. So you're going from one tool, you're going to the second tool to figure out, okay, well, this one told me what the problem is. Now I got to try to fix it with the second tool and maybe a third tool. And we also have, as I mentioned before, with AI, we've got an increased number of cyber threats that are coming through. And I think I just kind of repeated myself there. I'll just continue. So CIOs are now turning to what's known as the digital employee experience, or DEX solutions. And Gartner feels by 2026 that more than half more than 30% will have 50% will have a DEX strategy. And by 2028, more than half of those leaders that haven't adopted a strategy, they're either going to be swept away and have someone come in that wants to actually put something together. So the question is what if you could ensure every employee has the experience that they need at the cost and compliance levels that you need? Pretty cool? So the HP Workforce Experience Platform is, sorry, 1 second here. Oh no, my bad. The Workforce Experience Platform, the idea here is to transform IT from a cost center to a strategic driver. The thought process here is that we give everybody a device based on their persona or their job description. Myself, I travel a lot, so I'm classified as a road warrior. So inside of HP, we've got 2 devices that I get to choose from. And one of those devices is something that, in my opinion, doesn't fit what I want. It's too heavy, it's too big. For me, carrying a backpack, I'd like to have something that's lightweight. And but I was never asked about that. And with this platform here, we bring in some thoughts on what the employees, or we can bring in, I should say, how the employees feel about the technology tools that we've been given, or they've been given to do their jobs. Typically, we just think we give people a new shiny laptop and everybody's happy. But the reality is not everybody's happy with what they get. And that's not just your laptop, that's with all of the digital tools. So WXP, or Workforce Experience Platform, we like to shorten it, call it WXP. So the WXP helps maximize productivity of your workforce and organization to be more successful. It helps IT teams understand ahead of time what is happening with their devices. And as you can see from the slide here, we do more than just PCs. And I'm going to go to the next slide here, because the other thing I want to point out is it's not just an HP product. It's also very scalable. You can see in this environment here on this slide, we have over 71,000 devices that are calling in. The idea is not to just manage HP devices. The idea here is to manage your digital infrastructure. So you can see we've got printers, we can manage virtual machines, video endpoints, telephones, phones, and tablets. And again, when we even talk about printers, it's not just HP printers. We believe that HP does make the best printers, but we also realize that organizations might have some legacy printers, or they're fans of Xerox, or they're fans of Lexmark. So we want to give the ability to manage those devices as well. So this slide here, it's a little bit busy, but the HP Workforce Experience Platform is an AI-driven cloud-based solution. And what we start off with here is it's in the Digital Employee Experience Magic Quadrant by Gartner. So at the top, you've got your employees. We can get sentiment surveys, so we can actually ask questions and get feedback. So we provide the ability for customers to ask their own questions, but we came up with a few that we thought would be helpful. First one is 1 to 5 stars. How happy are you with the digital tools that you've been given to do your job? The second question is a list of applications, and we ask employees to let us know which ones cause the most digital friction. And then the third question is a text-free field box, where we ask users to provide more information. Now, depending on the size of your organization, you might think this will be a daunting task to go through all those responses. So that's where the AI tools come in, and we can summarize things. So give an example on the application list. let's say they list Microsoft Outlook or Microsoft Teams or Zoom as the top applications that cause them the most problem in their day. We can then go into the platform and take a look to see how many different versions of those applications do we have running in our environment, and what is the most stable version of, say, Microsoft Outlook. From this tool, so not going to another product or another platform, we can create a script to be pushed out through the WXP platform to update those users that are on an older version to the most stable version. So again, hoping to improve the digital friction that they've been experiencing and improving their overall digital employee experience. We could then rerun the same survey in a couple of months and see what the feedback is. Maybe Microsoft Teams ends up being 7th on the list because of those updates that have been pushed down. The other way that what we call these surveys, we call them pulses. They don't get sent out as an email because I'm sure that all the organizations that are here, we're all doing phishing exercises and finding out who has to go to cybersecurity training. At HP, we do those as well. But where these sentiment surveys pop up, or pulses, are from the taskbar. And they can include your company logo, so it looks really legit. The fact that we're not asking somebody to open another application to actually respond to our survey, we get a much higher response rate back. And so it pops up from the taskbar. Only one survey can be sent out per day to an employee. So you can do the survey that I just mentioned, but you can also use this as almost an instant messaging tool. I have a customer in Calgary, a law firm that had a flood on the 12th floor, and they typically use a text messaging system to alert their users when they want to send an urgent message. For whatever reason, the day of the flood, it failed. And their first comment when they saw this was, this would have been a great way of communicating to users quickly, because as soon as they type the message up and hit send, it gets delivered to the users. So, and it's not an intrusive manner, it doesn't have them open some other attachment, and it's simply an X to close it once they've read the message. So all of this at the top here with the survey feedback and stuff, it all ties into a score. And we have an overall score which looks at the facts, which are the health of your systems, the health of your network, the health of your applications, the security, how they're performing, whether someone is disabled or removed encryption or your antivirus or disabled your firewall. It all ties into facts. That employee sentiment that I just talked about, it's a perception until we actually get the facts. Customers that don't want to ask their employees how they feel, that can actually be turned off, and it just resets the total scoring for the actual facts from the systems themselves. I mentioned it before, we do more than just laptops and desktops, and we do more than just HP, but we do PCs, we do Macs, we do printers, we've got the video and conferencing equipment. So I'm not sure if everybody knows, but HP, we do manufacture our own headsets and cameras for conference rooms through an acquisition of a company called Poly. Some people might know it as Plantronics or Polycom. It happened a few years ago. Some of that equipment is now built in with our new laptops, which again improves the experience, looking your best when you're on camera, providing some of the best sound, and also some built-in security features. Things like people standing over your shoulder, the camera is going to detect it to alert you that you've got the looky-loo, or built-in privacy screens built into the monitor of the laptop, hitting an F2. So people I was on the plane the other day, person next to me had no idea what I was working on because they couldn't see it, and it's not one of those external screens. We also do virtual machines. I came through an acquisition of a company called Teradici, and we did a product called PC over IP. It was built into VMware Horizons platform, and then we had a standalone solution. So it's now known as HP Anywhere inside of HP. So it allows users to connect to a physical or virtual machine from virtually any client. It can be an iPad, can be a Chromebook, can be a Windows device. And that all can be monitored inside of this platform as well, letting you know whether you've underutilized or overutilized your VMs. Again, going back to the cost savings. And then software. So this one for me is a big thing, right? I've got 2 kids. One of them is out of school, one of them still in school. And I remember the days of, hey, I've got to do this presentation at school. Can you help me with my PowerPoint? Or, hey, I need to do something really creative. And at the time, it would have been really good to have something like Adobe Creative Suite. But sure, HP's not going to let me have a license just to help my kid out. But Some people try to build a business case to get that to happen, and they launch it once, and they launch it for maybe an hour or 2 hours, and it never gets used again. But the company has paid for that license because somebody came up with a business case. So part of what we can provide inside of the platform is the software utilization. So finding out what applications are being used, what applications are not being used. We can get into number of times it's been launched, for the length of time it's been used. So if something isn't been used, in that example I just mentioned, instead of letting that person still have it, is maybe doing some software reclamation, pulling it from their system and redeploying it to another user. Or if no one needs it, then when it does come time for the renewal, you know that you don't need to purchase that software again. We do have add-ons. So HP, we manufacture the most secure devices in the world. The reason we do that is we have a Wolf security controller chip that HP manufactures that sits below the BIOS. It's not a TPM. It's an actual security chip that it authenticates the system. It makes sure that the BIOS has not been corrupted or tampered with. And once it's finished its checks, that's when it will allow the CPU and the BIOS to do their thing, load all of the millions of little files that need to run in order for your laptop to boot up. So we call that our Wolf suite of products. We do other things, like we have a product called SureClick Enterprise, which basically allows a user to open any attachment with the security built in, that it's going to open it into a micro VM, and it's going to isolate it from the operating system and from the network. So even if it was riddled with malware or ransomware, it would open inside of the secure container, but it would never touch the operating system. The user still has the ability to save it to their desktop if they want, but all the while, this is actually going to be uploaded into the Wolf security portion inside of WXP, and it's going to show the security team what the threat was, when it was detected, and give all the security details that are needed to figure out how do we prevent things like this from coming in. Did this fail, through our mail server when it came in? Was it another one of our security solutions that didn't pick it up? So all of that gets managed and run inside of the platform. We also have a product called Protect and Trace. What this solution allows you to do is, if a device has been lost or stolen, and this is Windows devices, and this is specific to HP, you have the ability to remotely delete the data from the machine or freeze the device below the operating system level. And it's done through what we call Protect and Trace. And we have one additional feature, which is where we put into a brand new system, a mobile broadband adapter, and we pay for a cellular subscription that communicates the Wolf security tools that are built in back to the monitoring center, that will allow you to perform a device freeze or a data delete on a device, even if it's not powered on, or even if the device won't boot up. And no one else has got that technology, so it's pretty cool. But that would also be run from inside the console. We have printers. I've mentioned it before, but the print component today, HP has a couple of services. One's called Security Manager, and one is called WebJet Admin. So if you are an HP print customer, thank you for being one. You won't have to go to a separate console. It will also be inside of the WXP console, and it'll be there to provide you with information on usage. It'll be able to provide you on information on what errors have been happening, whether it's been paper jams, or the security policy hasn't been updated, or it hasn't even been applied. So again, it's a security threat. A printer is just a computer that prints documents. So we want to make sure that they're secure. So all that can be handled inside of the WXP console as well. So this is just a screenshot here of the actual homepage. It's not intended to be a platform that you're spending 8 hours a day. This is where you need to have a new hire, get fully trained and certified, and this is their sole function. The idea here is to provide notifications. Sorry. First time using this clicker. Provide notifications on what's happening. So we call these our alerts. So, for example, we've got, Windows Secure Boot has been disabled on more than 5% of our devices. So this should be a security concern for us. So we now have the ability to go in and create a script, and it's one that can be saved in a library. So if this happens again, it's a matter of running it, creating either a group of machines that needs to have the update, and tagging the correct script, and it will automatically push that script out. We have the ability on HP devices to automatically push out BIOS updates and push out driver updates. For non-HP devices, we don't have the ability to say go to Lenovo's website to grab the BIOS update or driver updates, but you as customers, you guys have the ability to do that, and you guys can create a PowerShell script, bring it into WXP, and then push it out the same way so that all of your devices are kept up to date. I mentioned at the beginning we've got our scoring. So this is where if there's an issue, let's say on the system health, like we can see we've got the red bar here. Those are systems we have problems with. You can click through that, but at the end of the day, the alert section is where all of that information is actually going to populate. You can customize these alerts. You can change the percentages of devices that you want it to be reported on. We are working to add functionality that is more customizable so that we have a series of, I think it's 25 or 30 different alerts that we report on. If there's something that you want to report on, you'll have the ability to add your own custom alerting as well. With the size of, or the number of devices we have in here, it's very scalable. So it's not something you're going to have to worry about if you got 1,000 devices and you grow to 1,500, will the platform accept it? It definitely will and can. It's doing it today. So this is just a quick review again on some of the alerts. So this is where you get some really good detail on the number of devices impacted. We get blue screens of death. You want to make sure that you're resolving those before they happen. But one of the key things that we've got to is things like batteries, right? Batteries fail, whether it's our devices, whether it's one of our competitor devices. We can start to predict these failures. So we can tell before the employee starts having issues where they're doing a presentation and they didn't bring their charger with them and they've got 2% left. Those things don't need to happen based on the fact that the telemetry that we're able to gather, we can predict that happening. And if you are an HP customer and you've got one of our Premium or Premium Plus warranty packages, you'll actually be able to file a warranty ticket inside of the WXP console directly into HP's warranty site. And because it was the WXP platform that detected the problem, a replacement product will be sent out for the battery, for a failing hard drive, or for a failing fan. We still do predictive analytics on devices that are not HP for things like batteries and hard drives and fans. We just don't get the same telemetry that we can off an HP, which is, I'd say it's understandable because that's how we can tell you how great our batteries are versus somebody else's. Oops. So this is a new component, and it's kind of a hard to read slide, so I apologize. But there's a lot of detail on here. Conference rooms, Teams environments, Zoom environments, they can be problematic. I know that one of the calls I join regularly, we get 2 invites for it because the Teams room doesn't allow the invite to be sent out or to join from someone else's. So it causes some problems. But we also have issues where you have network disconnections or you're back to that unstable version of Teams or Zoom. So through an acquisition of a company called Vyopta, which were the leader in the telemetry and predictive analytics on unified communication devices, we have incorporated that, and on November 1st, this will be an add-on to the WXP console so that you can maintain, manage, and secure your unified communication devices. So finding out how many Teams licenses are being used, finding out how many times a person is actually turning their camera on. So the remote workers, the idea here is you're supposed to make it feel like you're in person with somebody. So most companies do encourage employees to use their webcams. Now they'll have the ability to report to find out which users are not putting them on. You'll also have the ability to analyze Teams and Zoom rooms that you may have set up. Maybe it's a conference room that's set up for a maximum of 20 users, and constantly a single person is going in there and using that room for their conference calls. And if it's happening more and more frequently, maybe the decision needs to be made that maybe we need to carve this up into 2 smaller rooms or 3 smaller rooms and increase the real estate for other people to use rooms because it's not being utilized as one for 20. You also get as I mentioned before, the network performance. And we've done some integrations. So the WXP platform is built on provides headless API integrations. So we've already integrated a few, ServiceNow, so it's an expensive solution, but it's greatly used as far as a service desk ticketing tool. The integration on that one, it Takes a couple of steps. You go to the ServiceNow library, download 2 connectors, and then you connect it inside of WXP. And what that allows you to do is that if there is a ticket that we've detected, if there's an issue that we've detected, a ticket can be submitted to ServiceNow from inside of the WXP console. So right now it's a one-way communication. The team is working to have two-way communication so that if there is an update, it can also be updated into the WXP console. Things like Tableau, Entra ID accounts and groups, Power BI, Power Automate, and there's one that's not on here, but we also integrate with Splunk, so you can take the data from these devices and upload it in for different analytics that may need to be run. But based on it being able to integrate through APIs, you can integrate this with almost anything you want. There is a tie-in, not necessarily with ServiceNow, but with service desk tickets. We are also on November 1st releasing a feature which is called Remote Connect. So today, if users have to go to another tool, say LogMeIn or TeamViewer or something else, to do some troubleshooting on a device, you can actually do that from inside this console as well. So it'll allow you to remote into a device and actually take control, do your troubleshooting. And there is security in place. The user has to authenticate by providing the administrator a security token. When those tokens match, then the administrator can log in and take control. The session can be ended by the end user, or it can be ended by the administrator. And when that happens, the Remote Connect piece will be uninstalled and ready to go for when it's needed again for another user or for that same user. Some of our competitors, or some of the competitors in the space, will use tokens, which is the number of times that you can actually launch a remote session. With the WXP Remote Connect, it's unlimited, so there's no limitation on how many you can do. Just before I go to this one, there's a bunch of other, we have a bunch of other on the side here. We've got under devices, this is also a fleet management tool. So we get a lot of information out of the registry on your devices, your make, model, serial number. We get the operating system information. On HP, we can track your warranty dates. So if it's valid warranty time, you can submit those tickets. But there's also a whole bunch of other things that we can't grab that is probably important to your organizations. Whether it's a cost center, whether it's a purchase order, whether it's a department, an employee ID number. All of that information can be uploaded into the console so that it can be really the single truth of source for your devices. And again, not just laptops and not just HP devices. We get everything from all the software that's installed. We get into all of your security applications. So it really, truly is a fleet management tool. We have a couple of other things. There's a section here called Labs. These are features that we have launched to let customers test and play with and give us feedback. They're technically still in beta, but they work. It's just not the full feature that we're working on. And the two that are issued today, one is called Fleet Explorer. So similar to using Copilot or ChatGPT, you can ask WXP a question. So it might be, hey, how many users have Adobe Creative Suite? And it will provide a list of those users for you so that you can then go in and look for the analytics and figure out, are they using it? Do I need to reclaim the software? You might also want to find out, which users have experienced the most blue screens of death. So whatever you want to type into the console, as long as it's information that can be gathered from that database, we'll populate that. The other feature is called Smart Refresh, and it's in its first iteration. And I think it's a pretty cool feature because what it allows you to do is to take a quick look at all of your devices and filter out what we have deemed using AI tools as devices that need to be refreshed now or refreshed soon, or devices that are okay, or devices that need more information. And if it needs more information, it typically means that the device is not connected in a number of weeks or a number of months. So we can't tell you with confidence that, hey, this device needs to be replaced. But we'll provide things like the age of the device, and then we'll also provide you with the factors that we believe are causing the reason why we are suggesting a replacement. So it might be very high memory utilization, CPU utilization, might be multiple blue screens of death, it might be multiple OS crashes. So it gives you a quick glance of what your refresh cycle should possibly look at. But it can also give you information into, have I got my personas created properly for my users? Versus just having that, like I'm the road warrior, but maybe I do development work on the side, and or not on the side, but as part of my job, and I need a more beefy machine. I don't fit into the persona, but using this tool now, it could be viewed as, well, hey, Mark needs more than 16 gigs of RAM. Mark needs a bigger hard drive, and all of that information will be populated in here. Also, if you've got devices that aren't performing well today, is taking a quick look to say, hey, if we go from 16 gigs to 32 gigs of RAM, am I going to be able to extend the life of this device? The next iteration of this version of Smart Refresh is going to allow for, whether you're purchasing through a partner or purchasing direct from HP, the ability to have a storefront that says, hey, this EliteBook G8 with 16 gigs of RAM, the recommended replacement model is one of our new AI PCs, for example, and being able to do a one-click purchase. So that's kind of the future of what we're looking at with that feature. One thing that just came to mind as well is, I'm pretty sure everybody's probably well through it, but Windows 11, we've got reports built in that quickly shows you how many devices are on Windows 11 today, how many are not yet, and of the ones that are not yet, how many would have a performance risk if you were to upgrade. And then we'll tell you why. It could be the size of the memory, it could be the high CPU utilization, et cetera. And then it'll tell you ones that, hey, don't even bother, you're gonna need to replace these machines. So just some really cool information that's built in, and that's Workforce Experience Platform. I'm excited about it. I love talking about it. I think you probably realized that all the statistics at the beginning, I'm not as up to those, so I struggled a little bit, so I apologize, but this excites me, and if anybody wants to hear more about it, I mean, I'm happy to answer questions now, but we do have the booth inside the hall there. I can pull up a demo and show you guys, or I'd also be happy to schedule time where we can run through in an hour a deep dive demo on how the solution works. We do offer proof of values, which are typically set for a 60-day period, which we give you access to everything that's included in the solution, and you can check it out. Any questions? No? All right, well, thank you for your time. I'll give you guys back 13 minutes, it looks like. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I guess I should finish. We forgot about that. We learn from billions of data points across 26,000 customers, which is growing every day, and we are doing this in over 180 countries. So we're here to transform your digital experience, reduce IT spend, improve support, improve security and compliance, and then enhance operations and efficiency. And that's Workforce Experience Platform. Thank you.